This is Tech Now. I'm your host, John Reed, also CEO of CATA Alliance, and we're very pleased to have with us from his office in Calgary, Mike Eade. Mike is the newest member of our National Leadership Council. He's also going to serve as our VP for CATA Alberta. So Michael, welcome, and why don't you share with us a little bit of your background in innovation and technology. I know we've known you for many years, dating back to your days with Apple Canada.
Well, John, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to join you today. Indeed, I date myself back several generations to the time when Norm Kirkpatrick was chairman of CATA, and I had the privilege of working with Apple Canada in a corporate development role. And I worked for a number of years in that capacity until the mid-90s when I moved to Washington and worked on technology policy with Apple Computer, working largely on things like spectrum allocation and digital television standards. And then I moved to Silicon Valley in the late 90s, worked with some startup companies, and did some independent consulting work where I worked with international companies that wanted a presence in Silicon Valley. I did that for a number of years until moving back home to Alberta, to Calgary in 2011, where I've continued to work with both public and private sector clients, largely working on technology commercialization, business development, and some clients, some government work where I've done some work related to the innovation agenda in the province of Alberta.
So I understand, we spoke earlier, by the way, great skill set to bring to the CATA team. I understand you've just finished a contract which focused on understanding how to make that Alberta innovation engine more efficient. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you've just completed?
Yes, I worked for several months on an effort to refocus the innovation system, the formal innovation system in the province of Alberta. There's about $800 million a year spent by the province in Alberta on innovation, and that would be related to initiatives, the community-based programs such as Innovate Calgary, Tech Edmonton, the innovation corporations, the support for a number of organizations such as ACAMP and TR Labs, TR Tech it's now called, but the province's contribution to that. And there was an interest in focusing some of the efforts to coordinate and increase the results that are derived from this investment in the formal innovation system. So I did some work with the Department of Innovation and Advanced Education under the leadership of the Acting Premier Dave Hancock at the time, and it led to the establishing of an Alberta Innovation Council, which had its first meeting in July. So it was a great vantage point to understand and to get a better sense of what's going on within the province on the innovation agenda.
Well, I know you've also worked with us on crowdfunding, and you have some concerns that Alberta is, I can put it, lagging behind a bit in terms of embracing crowdfunding fully. Can you, it's one of your roles will be to lead some of the advocacy, so what's the difficulty there? What's the shortcoming in Alberta?
Well, this is a relatively complex issue across the country, and there's been quite a bit of invested energy by people that you know very well that CATA has led in this advocacy campaign over the last couple of years to try and move the yardsticks with the security commissions across the country to open the doors to have more effective equity-based crowdfunding regulations in place. And some provinces have moved forward. Alberta's made some steps. They allow, at this juncture, $500,000 to be raised by investors, private non-accredited investors, putting in less than $2,000 per person per year in a privately held company that has an offering memorandum posted. But there's an interest in trying to broaden the communication through portals, and in fact there's an initiative in Calgary where there's a new company that's been set up in that regard that Sandy Gilbert works with, and you know her from her advocacy work in the CATA campaign, CATA-led campaign, that the province has capped it at $2,000. Now, we think that it would be in the interest of many people to raise that limit to $5,000 or potentially even $10,000 per private investor. Now, of course, this is non-accredited investors. They have the option to put in more money. But the Security Commission in Alberta is looking at it carefully, and as other provinces have made some forward movement, and I believe British Columbia is one of them that's done some quite interesting work. Following on the the directions that have been charted by Australia, United Kingdom, other countries around the world, which really have a much more open environment for crowdfunding, equity-based crowdfunding. But it's a very exciting opportunity to allow a lot of people to get an opportunity to invest in good companies that really are the core of our future for the country.
Well, those points are well taken, Michael. So welcome back, but in the form of the newest member of our National Leadership Council. You're going to be leading some of these Alberta-based innovation issues, also helping us across Canada strengthen our whole voice. So thanks for joining us from your office in Calgary, Alberta.
John, thank you very much. I'm really excited for the opportunity to work with you and the National Council. I'm looking forward to it.